It's story time. It's really about music, but expressed in a non-musical way. I don't know how many of you have seen the film Roxanne. I think it's Steve Martin and Daryl Hannah. She's got that golden blonde hair, and some people's eyes very beautiful. And it's set in this small American town, lovely idyllic sort of countryside, beautiful weather. And Steve Martin has got this like really long nose, but what a beautiful story. So the song part of it is Operation Snowball, where the amateur part-time firemen are going out to rescue this cat that's up a tree called Snowball. And in their impetuousness to do the right thing, they're going down the road, there's the fire engine, the ladder's up. Steve Martin, who's the fire chief, spots this and he's going, "Boys, the ladder's up. Oh boys, the ladder is up. The ladder is up." It's the pauses and the way, just repeated words, those pauses, just like in music, how it changes the emphasis. Next thing you hear that crunch and yeah, they found the low bridge, there goes the ladder. The cat will obviously find its way down out the tree, as they always do. But also in that film you've got Steve Martin with this exceptionally long nose, who's fallen in love with, I think her name's Kowalski. She's an astronomer. She's actually quite shallow in a way, because she sort of falls in love with the good-looking guy in this fire department. But what she's actually fell in love with is the image of the younger guy. But because this elaborate scheme, he's got this hat on with his ears covered underneath headphones, and it's Steve Martin's character is actually telling him what to say. She falls in love with the Steve Martin's character because he's expressing from his heart. And it's been mediated through this other guy, but it all ends up perfectly fine at the end of the film. And of course, sort of the allegory of that film is that she does find a star. He's a reflection of her. Now, think of your own realities. You've probably been in job situations or in some kind of situation where it's like, oh, fucking hell, why do I have to put up with this arsehole? Well, they're just a reflection. It's showing you how not to be. Reflections can show all sorts of things. They can show you how not to be. They can inspire you. You just have to see with the right eye. That one, the spiritual eye, not the eyes of the deceiver, because they'll lead you, well, a bit like that fire crew really. You go charging off and forget about the ladder. And it ends up as a bit of a disaster really. But does it? Because it's an experience, it's a lesson learned, hopefully, that they'll remember next time to have the ladder down, to go under the bridge, because you can't get the camel through the eye of a needle that way, can you? So, what are we up to here? 4 minutes of waffle. But music, oh, what a wonderful thing. I could just talk for hours about music. If there's one regret about this experience, it's not being able to write music and write it in a symphony. But I get plenty, I've got a huge arsenal at my disposal. I guess when I sat down in a restaurant and I went through the list of options, I just picked the right things to come into this experience, to go through and to experience. Because that's all I can really talk about. It's the only thing I am an authority on is my experiences. I'm quite happy to share them for those that want to listen. Sorry about the camera jiggling about. But this is just sort of in the moment. There'll be other videos coming on the channel. You will get to meet the Energy Flow family, starting I believe with Mrs. Energy Flow. I say from my point of view, or from my perspective, the only way I can describe it, it was probably took just under 2 months. I put out the wish into the cosmos, into the universe, that I want to find the soul tribe locally. I want to physically interact with some of the soul tribe. Yesterday's star thoughts are today's star thoughts. That's why you are where you are. You'll probably find you're sitting on a ley line junction. There's a grid, there's a web. There's a spiritual aspect as well that also creates a web. So when you think you're alone, you're not. You're all one. Something else I was sort of prompted to talk about. Now there's a lot of speculation about what goes on up in the skies with planes and spraying and all that sort of thing. Now I'm not a gambling man, but at the same time I won't advocate something unless I'm prepared to put myself through it. Well, what are they spraying up there? Who cares? I see. Because it's there in black and white. Tobacco smoke contains over 70 substances known to cause cancer. They might be known to cause cancer, but not in this universe. So whatever they may or may not be spraying up there, do you not think I'm already conditioned this body? So is that going to do any harm? I doubt there are the resources to even pull such a thing off. I think it's all like everything else. It's based on illusion, a lot of gaslighting, feeding into a negative script. So I'll wager that this is actually conditioned this physical being, that it can cope with whatever the system alludes to be throwing at us. But it's up to you. Think of it like an art studio. You've got your still life on the table. There's 4 of you. Now you're all going to draw or paint the same thing, but your perspective will be totally different. I choose to see the most positive perspective to everything because it's a game changer inside. There is no war going on in here. There is no conflict on anything. It's absolutely fantastic. And I can bide my time because if I get to the end of the journey and fulfill what I want to fulfill and fulfill my mission, then what am I going to do? Certainly as far as making videos are concerned about this or that will be redundant. I'm out of a job, as it were. But that's that sort of plunged into the Atlantic in the cold water and not knowing where the land is, that sinking Titanic moment that we all go through. So I've got no desire to reach that end when the actual journey itself is so magical, and I have been shown this, I can say on a daily basis. I don't know how it works, I don't want to know how it works, but I know that it works. Think of it as space, the ether, everything between anything that's solid. Think of it as like an energy that's neutral that you can tap into and it'll work with you. Like I said before, I've done a deal with the ego. I've done a deal with all the aspects, all the emotions. So they're all working in harmony, all pursuing the same, which is just being in the moment. Because are we not a human being? So are we not just being? The system will always try and get you doing. But what is wrong with just being? Be still and know that I am. It's the whole point of being still. It doesn't take a lot of effort, does it? It's so simple and yet made so complex. But that is all you need to do, because, to paraphrase Robert Henry, the artist who is interesting to himself will be interesting to others. So if I cannot be content within oneself, how can I radiate that out? How can I show that? How can I demonstrate that to anybody if I haven't got that right inside myself? And I'm not saying I have got it perfectly right, but from where we have been and where we were, definitely. There's an inner calm, which is a new experience. And that is all it is. It's like Julia says on Nature's Simplicity Revealed. And that's exactly what it is. It's beyond human imagination. Well, there's your answer. You just stretch the imagination. It's potential. It's not the explosion. It's the potential. That spark, what it can achieve, what it can destroy, what it can create, what it brings about. It's a mushroom cloud if it's an atomic bomb, because it's like a brain. It resembles a brain. It resembles a piece of broccoli. But it's all interconnected. There is no coincidences. I don't do side dances for coins. That's selling out too cheap. When there's real magic, when there's real gold, it's not a tangible thing in the solid reality, but it can be brought into the solid reality. If I don't particularly want gold, what am I going to do with it, really? I'd much rather just say, look, here's a key. This is what I've unlocked. This is where we are. This is the chapter we're on in this Akashic living library. This is where we've got to at this moment. And being a gentleman, I will always hold the door open. As one door closes, another one opens. But there is a point where you can keep them both open for a limited time, because everything is terms and conditions. I think the conditions are right. I think the time is now. Talking of which, I'm recording this on, what are we up to, Aries the 14th of year -2. I use a different calendar, so effectively I'm 14 days old, because time in this reality and time in the eternal, the cosmos, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is not the same. It's like trying to squish 14 into 5. It is possible to do, of course. But in this reality, a mathematician will say, no, it's not. You'll end up with a minus figure. No, you don't. 3 and 4 make 1, as well as 7. 1 and 1 makes 1, if it's magnets. Which, thanks to Ken on, I've forgotten the channel name, I can't even say the name. Well, you know, I've mentioned him before. And he's absolutely right on that. But you see, you can make anything into anything. That's the whole point of co-creating. But what do we want to create? You know? Ukraine, UK reigned. Well, Upper and Lower Egypt was the first United Kingdom. Have they ever not reigned? See the symbology of the blue and the yellow. It's the sun and the divine feminine, as opposed to the motherland, which happens to be divine masculine, which is shown as red. It's all symbolic and it's all theatre shows. But with the world being a stage, I would suggest you be your own producer, your own director, your own writer. Be your own actor. Play as many parts. Don't get typecast. But play as many parts as you want. Enact, breathe life into those characters. Create what you want to create. Just make sure it's gentle as a dove, but wise as serpents. Do no harm to anyone or any other living thing, and you can't go far wrong. See, it is very simple. Anyway, that's enough waffle for me. We're up to 16 minutes now, so I will say love to you all. And keep shining. You're feeling it all because you're at the forefront. You are on the front line. If you listen to this channel for the right reasons, you're seeking, you're asking questions, you're as King Quest Eye on. That's just where you need to be. Never stop asking why. Never lose that inner child. Keep asking why, because many whys is what makes you wise, because wise is to know and acknowledge that you know nothing. The only thing you can give is a testimony of experiences. Your own personal experiences. That's the only thing we're all an authority on, ourselves. So yes, ta-ta for now and love to you all. Perhaps if we can ever get this video to stop.